Will we be talking about Daredevil, the poster and the teaser trailer? And also, will we be discussing Disney Play and all the shows that we will possibly be getting in the near future? This is Marvel Movie News.
Welcome to Popcorn Talk, featuring movie discussion, news, and interviews. Popcorn Talk. We talk movies. And now, here's Popcorn Talk's Marvel Movie News.
Excelsior to you, our merry Marvelites. This is episode 197. That feels really weird to say. First of all, because it's 197, and also because I'm saying it. Yes, Coy is not here today, but he will be back next week. But I'm joined by the fantastic Christian Bladt. Hi.
Yes, the Fantastic Four. Myself, Christian Bladt. How are you? Thank you. I knew you would like that.
Wow.
Very excited to be sitting in on the show for the first time with you, Amy. So it's very exciting to be here.
Yeah, first time. Wow, that's crazy. But yes, first we're going to talk about where you guys can find us. So this is episode 197. You can find us, before that, subscribe to our iTunes at Marvel Movie News or find us at youtube.com/Popcorn Talk Network. You can also find us through Popcorn Talk's website, popcorntalknetwork.com. Follow us on Twitter at Marvel News PTN or The Popcorn Talk. Facebook as well, Facebook/Marvel News Show. Follow us, like us, do all that jazz. And if you tweet out the link during our show, Aunt Manthony will give you a shout out. Hello?
Hey there. Wow,
yes!
Give it up for Amy.
Thank you. You
got through it all.
I did.
Congrats.
There's a lot to say at the beginning, and then once we get through that, then it's like, okay, all right, so riding a bike.
I don't want to make you nervous, but, there's still a whole show to go. It's not like,
what do you mean?
What was with the congratulations? There's still a lot more to go, Anthony.
Congratulations.
Amy,
that was just the cup at the beginning of the marathon. Have a little sip, and we still got a lot of running to do.
She's got it.
I don't know why I pretended I have a mug right
You
here.
have an actual mug.
I have an actual mug. But yeah, so I am Amy. Hi. You guys remember me. I've been here before. But you guys can find me on all social media at Amy Cassandra, MTZ. And like I said, we are joined by the fantastic Christian Bladt.
And you can find me on social media. That's Twitter and Instagram at Christian DMZ.
Okay, so we are also in the chat. So feel free to join us there. We have a lot of news, but before we get to that, happy National Comic Book Day!
Sorry.
And the crowd goes wild.
Everyone, calm down.
Everyone.
Calm down. Yeah, so happy National Comic Book Day. I knew this day was coming, but it kind of just snuck up on me. Not to be confused with what is it?
Free Comic Book Day is always in May. So, it is a great day to celebrate comic books, but don't show up looking for the freebies because that's in May.
I'm sorry. But yes, so before we fully get into the news, let's talk a little bit about how you first got started in comics.
Me
I love
personally.
this story, yes.
So for me, I watched, like a lot of people, I'm a little bit older, I'm 42, so I watched a lot of Saturday morning cartoons, which, happened when you were younger than myself as well. But two of my favorite shows were the Super Friends, Boo, that's another universe. But what I really loved was Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, which it had Iceman, and they created this character named Firestar, but I always loved Spider-Man. And I liked him so much, I was just like, oh, there are all these comic books with Spider-Man, at the grocery store, because comic books used to be everywhere. They'd be at the grocery store, at 7-Eleven used to sell comic books, believe it or not, and everywhere you go. And I'm like, kind of want to read more of these Spider-Man stories. So it was through my love of that and Spider-Man. At that time, I think there were 3 Spider-Man titles, and I started reading all of them right at this time. It was right at the point when he introduced the black costume, which was right around the point of, if you're looking on YouTube, Marvel Superheroes Secret Wars was right when I started, which is an amazing all character crossover. But that's me. That's my story. And I ended up with about 3,000 comics through the time I was in college, and then started accumulating them in much smaller increments because, there's only so much room in someone's apartment.
3,000.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I want to know from you guys as well, if you're watching this after, we've gone off air, please, leave a comment down below letting us know your first memories, buying a comic, seeing a comic, experiencing comics. Aunt Manthony, too, if you have a story that you would like to chime in with, you're welcome to do so. Okay.
Thanks for your contribution.
Thank you. I'll jump in with my little sweet short story because you guys know this, I didn't grow up reading comics. For me, I first joined the whole Marvel universe, 2008 or so? Actually, no, a little bit sooner than that, but it was all through movies. So really, it's been through Marvel Movie News and Marvel TV Weekly that we do together on AfterBuzz.
That's right. Sundays at 10 Pacific on AfterBuzz.
Thank you for that.
No problem.
That I really opened my eyes to comics, and especially preparing for Infinity War. I read Thanos Quest and Infinity Gauntlet to prepare, and whoa, I mean, that was insane. But it was really nice to be able to experience comics that way and then see it on the big screen.
And for your birthday, I gave you a trade paperback of what I think is the best comic book story in the history of comic books, the Dark Phoenix Saga, Uncanny X-Men 129 through 137. So that's all before my time, but you've read that. That's right. You have read that. See? There you go. Everybody's read it. Now, Amy has it, but you haven't had a chance to read it yet.
I haven't. Yeah. But it's also, I want to say this, it's kind of like this lovely Marvel encyclopedia that we have in the middle of our table that is just, it's gorgeous to look at. So even if you're not reading it, I feel like you're experiencing it in some way. Kind of.
In the chat,
yes.
Beeping Goat 22 said that he or she got their first comic a few months after seeing The Avengers in theaters. So the Avengers movie sparked their Marvel obsession, which I think is exactly what the people who run the comic book division want to hear. You see the movies and you buy the comics. And there's some great comics out there now. There's a new run of Spider-Man that's out there. They sort of restarted with #1. Some interesting things happening over there. That's a little personal recommendation.
Yeah, I love that, side little tangent for like 5 seconds. I was watching The OC and...
Little tangent?
Slight little tangent. I was watching The OC and Seth, who's played by Adam Brody, was talking about reading comics. And heck, even 6 months ago, him talking about comics and really going into, he was talking about Marvel and DC, but going into that, I would have been super lost. And back then, reading comics and, being a full-on nerd wasn't something so normal, quotation marks. And now it's like, yeah, like embrace your nerd. And it's so fantastic. And I love that we get to do that through comics, through movies, through television, and of course, everything that we have coming out that we're going to get to, because there's a lot of news and I'm very excited. Most of it is Marvel TV related. So it's going to be nice because we're both here.
Carlito Lee in the chat says, I believe my first comic was a Gummy Bears comic I got from a hospital gift store.
What?
And I did love me that Gummy Bears animated series. So I hope that was a memorable issue. I didn't even realize there was a series, actually.
There was a series. I just eat the Gummy Bears. Okay, so now we're going to get into the news. Please continue to join us in the chat. Okay, so Avengers 4. We are all super pumped for it. But one of the biggest things we don't know is the title. So... this is kind of like a little bit of a scavenger hunt, I would say, but not really. Just with your eyes from your seat, if that makes sense. So the Russo brothers tweeted out this picture, and then they captioned it, "Look hard." So if you're looking at this picture on our, on YouTube right now, you can see that there's some A's. Well, some people were trying to figure out, like, what is the title? So they had previously said that they would release the title after the Captain Marvel trailer.
Right.
So they tweeted this out right after. This was on the 19th. So this is the first picture. And so people were trying to figure out exactly what it meant. So in this next picture that we see, someone was like, well, it looks like it says Endgame. And now the E, if you can see it, it's all the way to the left. I think that's a ladder.
Yeah.
I think the N, okay, the G is where they kind of lost me. Nope. I don't know how to spell Endgame.
Honestly,
a D.
The D is really
The D is what I meant.
questionable.
The D and the G are both
Where
like
is
a little
the
iffy,
G?
but the G you can kind of
G is
see it right
weird.
there before
I'll
the
zoom
A.
it in. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a stretch.
It goes from the top of like the marker on the wall to like where he's sitting to his laptop, and it goes back down to the chair leg. And then this D honestly just looks like a triangle. I don't know about you guys, but this is a triangle.
That's not.
I'm not
that's
buying
not
that
a D.
D.
So yes, and then some people were also saying, well, the Russo brothers said that they weren't going to be saying the word that's in, follow me, that's in the title of Avengers 4 in Infinity War. Does that make sense? That they weren't going to say it, and they did say Endgame in the movie. So then they were like, no. So then someone else was like, I got you. Look, this is the last picture. Yeah. So then this was actually in the movie, and it's also in the picture. So then they were thinking, okay, well, they went to the credit scene, or the scene called Avengers Assemble. So then people are thinking that it's Assemble. But that would just be really confusing. So now we have all these theories and we just don't know which one's right. So what do you guys think?
I mean, I think that it's always fun to speculate these kind of things. I love the fact that somebody took that time to write out Endgame. But I don't think we have the title yet. I think it's a very carefully worded title, and the Russo brothers did a great job having us guessing and trying to figure it all out. But what do you think, Amy?
Well, I'm wondering if it is. I mean, okay, so we had Endgame and then we have Assemble. Like, what if it's something longer? You know, not something like and the blah 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 blah, or like I don't know. I just think it's a little bit more complicated than we're thinking.
Right. And just sort of an interesting little footnote is when the original Avengers movie came out in 2011, in the UK, it was released as Avengers Assemble because there's a property there, the TV series that also was made into a movie called The Avengers. So they're trying to not get people confused. So in a way, that's kind of already been a title, but who knows? I don't know that works. You know, I read a quote somewhere that didn't they say that the title of the movie should scare us when we have it. So Endgame sounds a little scary. But Assemble, well, that's very hopeful. Look, they're assembling.
Yeah.
They're going to save us all.
It's going to be fine, guys.
Yeah. Peter Parker's going to come back. Everything's going to be fine.
Zeno.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, well, Zeno Hour said Avengers Empty Studio.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I mean, that is both terrifying and kind of true. But yes.
Just personally, I think Avengers Assemble makes a lot more sense, mainly because right now, where the state of the Avengers is, they're practically broken right now.
Yeah.
Like they're destroyed. Like they got wrecked by Thanos. They're licking their wounds at this point in time. You know, they're not really sure where they're at mentally wise. But I'm guessing that once the eve of everyone's dead or half the planet or universe is dead comes on them, they're going to be mentally broken. So I think Avengers Assemble makes sense because it's them picking themselves up again to really go up against Thanos. And it's the OG Avengers from the very first Avengers film, which would make sense in how they had to assemble in order to come together to fight the Kree, I believe. And so it in a sense, it kind of bookends it. It comes full circle with the first Avengers and Avengers Assemble. That's my opinion on it.
We have some thoughts from the chat, some of them funny. Entree Humane says Avengers and the Return of the King, because that was the third of the Lord of the Rings films. And book, I'm not an idiot.
The Sorcerer's Stone.
CGM Show says, I think it's Avengers Crusades. Westy Kid likes Avengers Assemble. Zeno Hour says Avengers Assemble again, LOL. And then also, Avengers Reassemble is in there. And Avengers Epilogue. Avengers Clean Slate. Avengers Disassembled. So there's a lot of theories out there. Keep giving us your
Avengers
thoughts.
Walk It Off.
Did somebody say that?
Yeah, Entree Humane.
I didn't see that. Oh, yeah, there it is. Yeah.
And we got Avengers at this point is some assembly required.
Oh, there's
That's
a lot
painful.
of assembly required.
That is really painful.
That's very true.
But you know what's not, that doesn't need, no, I can't. Okay, next news. There's no way to transition from this to that. Well, there is actually. But we're going to be talking about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Now, this news just broke 2 hours ago. So we found out on /Film that Sean Gunn has reportedly said that Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 will be using James Gunn's script, despite any rumors. So how does that make you feel, Kristian?
Well, it doesn't surprise me because, one, they spent a lot of money for it. Two, it was done. And now if you have somebody come in and start from scratch, you're basically, you're getting set way back in the process. And then there are plenty of people at Marvel and Disney who have read James Gunn's script. So you're going to constantly be thinking like, well, this is okay, but his script was better. So it doesn't surprise me. I just wonder if there will be, some kind of a rewrite to it. So his name will not be the sole screenwriter, which is the WGA rules. It would be James Gunn and whoever does the rewrite. So, it might soften it a little bit. Also, I think that they feel like maybe the fuss over James Gunn might have blown over a little bit by the time the movie comes out.
Well, the thing to think about is also, depending on who they get as a director, they're going to have a different vision than James Gunn has or had because of the script. I mean, people can read a script differently and think about it. I don't know. So I think that's going to definitely have some some interesting results. I mean, I don't know exactly how that's going to change for the person coming in to be a director, you know?
And in all honesty, if you use the same script, it's not going to feel that different. If you use a new script, it'll feel like a very different movie, you know? And I think a different director, look, director is very important, but that doesn't mean that the movie's going to feel like it's not a continuation of the same story. Having the same screenwriter, I think, will go a long way to that end.
Yeah, Anthony, do you have any thoughts on this?
Rightly so. I mean, I'm glad that they're using his script. It's a shame what happened, but yeah, at least he's some remnants of Gunn is in this film.
CJM Show says, yay, they're going to use the script now. Bautista can stop crying. Andre Humane says, they're not going to throw away money, and the Marvel side of this didn't want him gone anyway. Yeah, I mean, they would have spent a lot of money on that script, and it's probably good. It's probably exactly what they want. So it probably took all this time of deliberating, but it's like, yeah, we're going to use it. But they still haven't announced it, so it's just a rumor.
Yeah, through Sean. But also, I would think that maybe in Disney's mind, or Marvel's mind, they think like, okay, well, we can kind of help both sides in a way. You know, if you're upset that James Gunn isn't coming back, then it's like, look, well, we're using his script. And if you just want him to not come back, then it's like, well, look, we're not having him back. You know, I think they're trying their best.
Zeno Hour in the chat says, I still don't know who would want to direct Volume 3 right now. Me, I'll do it. I have no problem. Yeah, absolutely.
We have a volunteer.
I've never directed really anything, but I'm happy to take it over. I will take the script and just be like, oh, so read that. Yeah, what it says there, go ahead and do that. Can you do it again? One more time. All right, let's move on.
It looks good to me.
That's how I'm going to direct.
Yeah, well, and we're gonna move on over to talk about another director that's pretty fantastic, and I'm really happy for her. So this is Chloe Zhao. She is going to be directing The Eternals. So she previously directed The Rider, and also, I mean...
And that's R-I-D-E-R, not W-R-I-T-E-R.
Yes, The Rider, like...
Ghost Rider.
Like Ghost Rider. I like that. That was great. So she was going to, she was going to direct Black Widow, but then that ultimately went to Kate Shortland. So I am not too familiar with the Eternals, but Kristian, you are slightly.
I'm somewhat familiar with them. They had a limited series in the 80s, and they are characters created by Jack Kirby in the 70s, specifically 1976. Oh, the year I was born. What do you know? Maybe I'm an Eternal. But here's, and I'm not going to pretend I'm this smart. Here is the very quick explanation of them. They're a fictional race of humanity described as an offshoot of the evolutionary process that created sentient life on Earth. The original instigators of this process, the alien Celestials, intended the Eternals to be the defenders of Earth, which leads to the inevitability of war against the destructive counterparts, the Deviants. So that'll tell you a little bit, very little, but a little bit about the Eternals. But some great artwork from Jack Kirby. Just go ahead and do a Google image search, and you'll see some cool images and get a sense for what we might find in the movie.
And as far as Chloe Zhao goes, this is a trailer to The Rider, if you guys are watching us on YouTube. So you can kind of get a feel for how she directs and like the quality of it. And a lot of directors that we've had in Marvel come from, indie films and really get to flourish in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So we can go ahead and play the trailer. And Anthony, and this is rated R. Just so you guys know.
So keep the kids out of the room.
Yes. So I'm excited for her because for her to be able to really delve into this world and just kind of, have full reign on it. Like, yeah, let's bring in more directors. Let's, especially different points of view. And yeah, she won a lot of awards for this film. So yeah, I'm excited for her.
Yeah, I think it's a great opportunity.
Hi,
whenever
Encyclopedia.
Encyclopedia.
Ooh, so much Marvel knowledge.
Yeah, no, look at that. Everything in Marvel history just fell over.
It's okay, guys.
I feel so bad for the constrictor. Well, that's the page that it's open to. In any case, it's great when somebody gets an opportunity to, give their imprint on the Marvel universe or the extended universes that also include the Fox films and whatnot. But I think it's a unique group of characters. So I think that she'll really get a great opportunity. And good for them. Look, these last two director hiring announcements are both female. So, and we're getting Captain Marvel. So, they're starting to realize, oh, hey, maybe we can have some ladies on board.
Yeah, maybe. Let's do it.
And a Black Widow movie coming, one day.
One day.
One day.
But you know what's coming sooner than we expect, kind of, maybe? It's something coming to Disney Play. I am super excited about this because, like we said earlier, we are from the Marvel TV panel as well.
That's true.
So this news broke just a few days ago. So Disney Play, which is their streaming service, Disney streaming services, they're planning on having shows dedicated to Loki and Scarlet Witch, and now both Tom Hiddleston and Elizabeth Olsen are expected to reprise their roles. So it's not like they're going to bring in other people. Like, this is literally just transferring onto our screens to be super accessible. They did say that there would be run to 6 to 8 episodes, and Kevin Feige is expected to have an active role in the development. Now, we don't know when exactly Disney Play will come to fruition, but it's expected to launch sometime in 2019.
Right, and I think, look, it's exciting because they're great characters, obviously, and I mean, I think Scarlet Witch is more of a appreciated character from people who read the comics. I think we're just starting to get to see more of her in Infinity War, but I don't know anybody who is just the idea of like a Loki show. Ugh, I don't want to see that. So it'll be fun because look, neither one of them are going to get their own movie. Let's be completely honest. I think that they can feature heavily into movies. So it's great. It's sort of like the old comic book idea of, oh, this character's not going to get a monthly title, but let's go ahead and have a miniseries. Let's just give them a few issues and we'll get to know them a little bit better. And then you go ahead and look at them. Wolverine didn't have an ongoing comic book until 1987. So he just had a miniseries in the early 80s, written by Chris Claremont, drawn by Frank Miller. Frank Miller, I wonder if he's going to come up in a little bit. In any case, even Wolverine didn't have his own series. And just the idea of having little standalone miniseries, I think will work really well. And who knows what, if these come off well, who knows which characters we got. Personally, I'd sure like a Vision series. I'd like to know more about him. I like that he's trying to find more of his humanity. And I would be disappointed if he's not featured in the Scarlet Witch series.
Yeah.
There's a great miniseries also from the mid-'80s, probably the same year as that Eternal series, Vision and Scarlet Witch miniseries. In it, they have a baby. And it turns out the baby, spoiler alert from 35 years ago, they have twins.
Aww.
They're very happy for them.
Gosh, imagine if they end up, if Disney Play ends up doing that.
Yeah, well, then I just gave it all away here.
Well, that's okay, though, because that's really hopeful.
It's been out there,
Yeah. And then the budgets are expected to be super hefty, so that means the quality is going to be amazing. And with 6 to 8 episodes, you know that they can really just focus on those. I'm sure the plot's going to be fantastic. And I love Elizabeth Olsen. What we saw in Infinity War from her was fantastic. That one scene, you guys know which one I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It was by Vision and then stay away Thanos.
It was like the first moment where she's like really just cut loose.
Gosh,
the
she's
one thing I'm going to say,
what?
I'm so glad she lost the accent for Infinity War. Because the accent, it just wasn't doing it for me. So that's why Infinity War, I'm like, yes, I'm all in. This is great.
Zeno Hour says it would be neat if the Scarlet Witch series would introduce the idea of mutants into the MCU. And another thing too, just having the crossover between Marvel TV and the MCU, even if it's not on Netflix, for example, or if it's, ABC, like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., we get those little tiny bits, but when are we going to see some of these people in the big screen? So I think this is maybe Disney's way of being like, hey, look, we're bringing them to you.
Yeah. Entree Humans, by the way, says, gimme Hawkeye in terms of a standalone series.
Yeah.
Also another great miniseries that Marvel did many years ago. And I think that Hawkeye is a lot more interesting than he gets to be in the Avengers movies. So, if you want to keep it to say 4 episodes, because maybe you think that.
No.
But I'm looking for 8 episodes.
6 to 8, let's go.
I'm looking for 8 episodes of Hawkeye for sure.
Yeah. Well, Anthony, do you have any thoughts? Who would you like to see get a standalone show?
I'm down for Hawkeye. I always was a fan of Cliff. Also, just like archers in general. Like I always loved Legolas from Lord of the Rings.
All right.
So yeah, I mean, he also has like really cool gadgets. And he's like also a fun like character. Unlike what we have opposite of DC. Can you stop? Sorry. Opposite of DC's Arrow, where he's all mopey schmuck. Yeah, it'd be super fun if it's just like a action-packed Cliff Barton,
Clint Barton.
Clint Barton, my bad, doing his thing. I would love that.
Yeah.
Senior Nerd in the chat, by the way, chimes in a Winter Soldier miniseries. If
Be cool, too.
Sebastian stands on board for that, I would like to see that.
What about Shuri?
Oh, absolutely.
Like
But would they just
Okoye?
save them for the Black Panther movies, though?
I mean, that's okay. Well, how about both?
No, I want both.
Can we
but
both?
I would feel like that might be the way they look at it, though.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
anything really.
Robbie Reyes
I'd be
Ghost
happy.
Rider series from Jay Tesla, absolutely. I've been waiting for that through the last 2 seasons of Agents of Shield, just waiting for that announcement.
I mean,
Really interesting. They could make that really gritty and dark.
yeah.
I would love that.
And why not have a crossover with Nicolas Cage as the movie Ghost Rider? Because why not? Okay, but there's probably some good reasons
too
why not.
far.
Yeah,
Yeah,
all right, I got too
you
excited.
lost us.
Sorry, everybody.
But it'd have to be the same actor, I would say, from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I would really like that because he
He's
did
great.
so
Yeah, absolutely.
fantastic. Yeah, and then I think someone even said Bucky. Did we already say that one?
Yeah, and Gamer Girl says Sif and the Warriors 3 from Thor. And Sif showed up on episodes of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
However, Jamie Alexander, that actress, does star in the NBC series Blind Spot. So it's a little bit of an availability issue, but maybe one day we'll be able to get a better story with her.
Well, I mean, we're talking about TV already, but let's just like dive all the way into Marvel TV, mostly on Netflix. Oh, yeah.
Marvel movie
Here we go.
news.
Yes.
We're talking TV too.
I love this so much. Yay. Okay. So we're going to be talking about Daredevil and a couple of other shows as well. So first up with Daredevil, we got a poster. Woohoo. So Netflix released this season 3 poster on Twitter with the caption that read Job 30:26. That verse is in the King James Bible and it reads, "When I looked for good, then evil came unto me, and when I waited for light, there came darkness." And boy, is this dark. Yeah. What are your thoughts on the poster?
Well, it looks like a fun, light, very airy Daredevil
Super
series. Probably going to have a laugh track because it's going to be so silly. Maybe a crossover with Squirrel Girl. No, obviously, this is going to be very dark, very serious, and very personal. And we'll talk a little bit about the story, I'm sure. But just judging from those images, you're like, oh man, I don't think Matt is essentially dead at the end of Defenders, and I think things are going to get worse for him somehow to go from being dead to worse. So I'm very excited though to find out that it is indeed going to be, what's the date? October 19th. So that's less than a month.
I'm so excited.
So very excited.
Yeah, so we got the poster first, and then we got the teaser trailer that really, it tells us exactly when we're going to be able to enjoy this fantastic, oh my gosh, show. So we do have to talk over it.
Yes, and there's so much to say.
There's so much to say. So here we go.
You do all the talking. No, I'm
Okay,
just kidding. I
okay,
can
all
talk.
right, let's look. Ooh,
I
it's
actually
dark.
haven't seen this before.
Stop
Oh my
it.
gosh, you
Ooh,
haven't?
Live
Oh.
reaction.
Well, we're going to talk over it and be kind of annoying, like those people in the movie theater who have their cell phone out during a movie.
I wouldn't want it any other way.
Yeah, that's good. That's
So here he looks bloody, like he's
Yeah.
been through stuff.
yeah, but you know what? He could be
What?
bloody because of all the people he just beat up. Like that doesn't look like it's his blood.
True,
That's
true.
Matt having just taken down a lot of people.
Yeah, just
And-
got beat up in the nose a
And
little bit.
nice effect with the swinging light bulb.
Yeah,
by
can
the
I
way.
say something about that swinging light bulb?
Do it.
I
Yeah.
don't know. It's like he's covered in darkness, but that light is like swinging back and forth, and it's usually light kind of shines your way to
Yeah.
like. So is that like he's having trouble with his own moral compass, possibly?
Dang,
Absolutely.
okay.
I think that's definitely what's going on
don't
in this
know.
season. I
By
do
the way,
want
I've
more.
never read any of these comics, so just
Well,
preface that.
There's an interesting way that somebody could, and I don't know. Are you one of those people, Amy, that you like to read the book before you see the movie?
No.
Or because it's like if the movie's about to come out, I'm like, okay, well, I'll probably read the book afterwards. And then I know a lot of people will sometimes read the comic book stories these are based on, which a lot of people did that before Winter Soldier. And I'm like, no, I'll read the Winter Soldier, the Ed Brubaker trade paperback after I see it, because I just want to enjoy the movie. And then I can still enjoy the comic book because they're always so different. So, but if somebody did want to maybe get a little primer on what this story is. Do you know what this is based on, Amy?
Yes, Born Again.
Yes, the Born Again storyline, which is from Daredevil number 227 through 233. Now, if you're watching on YouTube, you see I didn't Google that. I didn't look it up. I don't have a lot in my head, but that's the sort of stuff that I have. I gave you the Dark Phoenix issues and the Born Again issues as well. Frank Miller is responsible for that. And it is one of the darkest things that I ever remember reading. I mean, I was probably 9 or 10 reading it. And I'm going to say a little of it was over my head, but and there's going to be things that you would read in there that are not going to be represented on the screen.
Like Karen Page's.
Yeah, Karen Page's backstory is that she's made a series of pornographic films, and she's strung out on heroin, and just for one more hit, she sells a piece of paper with Daredevil's real name on it, Matt Murdock. So
Dun, dun.
I don't think that there's enough time for Karen to really fall that far, but there could definitely be a situation where she doesn't want to. But I don't want to give any bad guys any ideas. You could probably beat it out of her. I'm sorry to say. I
mean, ow.
Look, it's Daredevil. It's not a fun world.
It's not.
I mean, for what you get like 2 jokes out of Foggy out of the whole season.
Stop it! I love Foggy.
I love Foggy.
Maybe we'll get more.
Yeah, more Foggy. By the way, standalone miniseries, Foggy.
Done.
I just want to watch him lawyering.
There was a picture release with Foggy featured in him in the picture. I don't know if you guys saw that.
I did
Foggy
see a
featured
picture of Foggy.
Yeah.
Photo. So we're going to get Karen back. We're going to get Foggy. Obviously, we're going to get Matt. And we're going to get Wilson Fisk, which I'm really excited about because in the second season of Daredevil, we didn't see him that much.
No.
And I really missed him. I think he's fantastic.
Vincent D'Onofrio, look, he's a great actor. You go back to Full Metal Jacket. I mean, just from that point onward, I don't remember seeing him in something and go, he made some bad choices and did not act well in this. No, he's always really impressive. And I was very excited when they cast him as Wilson Fisk, the Kingpin. And I think he did such a good job. Sometimes I don't like when they recycle villains too much, but the Kingpin is such an all-important, all-encompassing villain. I think we're also going to see some other... He's the big bad, but we're going to I believe we're going to get Bullseye this season as well.
That's what people in the chat were talking about. And if so, I'm not familiar with Bullseye at all.
So that means you didn't see the awesome Fox movie of Daredevil starring Ben Affleck as Daredevil? No?
No.
Am I the only
but
one?
Wait, how crazy. Oh, Elektra.
Elektra.
Is that how they met?
Yeah, Elektra was Jennifer Garner, and that is how they met.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. It's not a terrible movie.
Oh.
But you need to get the extended version. It's a little bit better. They really tried to cut around the corners to make some money off of it. But I don't know. Anybody in the chat, does anybody not hate the Daredevil movie? Let me know, because I don't want it to be just me.
Yeah, I mean,
To be honest with you, where I stand right now, I personally don't hate it, but I also haven't seen it since I was a kid. And I was really a lot younger, and my views for films has changed dramatically since then. But I gotta say, I still think Colin Farrell as Bullseye was a great call.
Yeah.
And when he breaks the glass and he throws that glass, and that slow-mo scene of Daredevil just dodging out of it is still one of the most memorable things of that movie for myself.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't think that that's going to help prepare anybody for Daredevil. But if you just can't wait and you need to watch some Daredevil, I'd be interested, Amy, if you saw that movie and what you would think of it.
yeah,
Reaction.
Yeah. Do a reaction video.
Ooh, yeah.
You know what? I have it on DVD, not Blu-ray. So it's just an old school DVD.
Stardust.
Yeah, exactly.
Follow me on Stardust. No, you can if you want. But yes, we're still talking about Daredevil, and there's more news. It's very exciting because Daredevil 3 hasn't even been hasn't released yet, but Marvel TV chief Jeff Loeb revealed that the higher-ups at Marvel, whoever they are exactly, do have plans for Daredevil Season 4, 5, and 6. Bam! This is so exciting!
That's a lot of Daredevil, and I was very excited to read that because just the idea that you have plans for that far out, because you don't know. I mean, look, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, Jessica Jones, none of those shows officially have a season 3 pickup. Now, I have a little insider scoop that they're all being worked on. They all have writers' rooms. They all have people writing. All 3 of those. Actually, not Iron Fist, but the other 2 definitely
Exclusive.
do. Yeah, it's not that exclusive, but it's true. And just from people that I know who may or may not work somewhere close to those shows, there may be scripts already for a full season of Luke Cage and for a full 3rd season of Jessica Jones. They haven't filmed them yet. They haven't even gone into production, but I think they're just sort of waiting for Netflix to figure out their plans. So
I'm so excited. That's great. I love that you give us a scoop.
I feel like there's no reason that 6 seasons of Daredevil, which if you think about it, Daredevil's really like the flagship series of these Marvel Netflix shows. He was the first one. He really anchored the Defenders, and then everybody else gets to play in Daredevil's universe. So I think it's great that they have that many planned. And then, I'm not going to get greedy. If they want to stop after 6, I'll let them walk away. As long as there's other shows to replace it with.
Well, I mean, even in Disney Play, we're getting more content that way. So Jeff Loeb did tell Entertainment Weekly this. We find the best showrunners that we can, whether it's Steve Lightfoot on Punisher or Eric Olsen on Daredevil, and we work together with them to craft the best story that we can. Does Marvel have an idea as to what Daredevil 4, 5, or 6 could be? Sure, but ultimately those things will be shifted and talked about by the 2 other important parties that are involved, the network, Netflix, and our showrunner. So I'm excited. Anthony, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm all for it. Daredevil was the originator of this Marvel grittiness on Netflix, like the Marvel rated R, I guess. And I'm all for it. Daredevil still remains to be one of my favorite of the TVC. I don't even know what I'm saying.
The Netflix TV series.
Yeah, and then along with Punisher too. So I'm gonna gobble this up all the way.
And we have someone in the chat, Entree Humane, saying, I officially want Iron Fist Season 3. You heard it here
right
first.
there with me. Thank you. I'm very excited. If anybody saw the end of that season, how can you not want to know what happens next? Yeah, I know, exactly.
Yep.
More Iron Fist as well. I know he's nobody's favorite, but that makes him kind of my 1A because I like him so much because I'm trying to make up for all the haters out there.
Haters gonna hate.
And then there are some comments on the Daredevil movie that people are like, oh yeah, the extended cut is actually better because the movie's able to breathe a little bit more. So I'm not crazy on the Daredevil movie, but I might be alone. I like the Daredevil movie. I like Iron Fist. So, that's all right.
That's okay.
I like what I like.
Yeah, it's fine. We're not going to judge here. Okay, so next up, we've got news on a new female superhero show on ABC. So it's interesting because ABC hasn't been super lucky when it comes to Marvel shows. I mean, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is still hanging on, but this coming season will be its last season. Is it 7?
It'll be the 6th season, and it'll start, I think, in June, and they've said it's 13 episodes, and then they're going to be done.
So it's like half the number of the usual. And then, of course, Agent Carter, I mean, we only had that for a little bit.
We had 2 seasons of Agent Carter. And again, you want to talk about how I like all the things that are unpopular. What did I like? I like the Inhumans, very flawed, but I like the characters enough. I was able to shrug off a lot of painful writing and acting, but mostly just because I love a teleporting dog. So yeah, ABC had, and then they had the planned spin-off with Bobby from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and her husband, and I wish I wasn't blanking on his name, I'm sorry. But then they shot a pilot, and then they just decided not to go with it. So that was another attempt that they had.
So here's the deal. So Allan Heinberg, he's the writer of Wonder Woman, the movie. He is reportedly in charge of this new female superhero show. So he has worked on Party of Five, Gilmore Girls, The OC, which we just talked about, guys, Grey's Anatomy, Scandal, and he was the co-creator / showrunner of The Catch. So he does have some experience because he's worked in comics as well. With Avengers, the Children's Crusade for Marvel Comics, and he's also written for DC. So here's my thing, though. We have a lot of directors and a lot of people that have, experience in this field and writers as well. why him exactly? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, can we get some ladies, some diversity in there? You know, at me all you want. I just like more. But I'm happy that we're getting a female superhero story. I just like, why a man?
It could be as simple as, you know, he's the one that came to them and he pitched it and he sold them on it, and maybe he's just so passionate about it that if that's the reason why, you know.
Okay,
Now,
yeah.
if a female writer producer came to them all excited and they were like, "Oh, this is a really good idea. We're gonna buy it and we're gonna have this dude do it," that's not cool.
Mm-hmm.
But if he's the guy who's just so into it, and you know they're not giving you a lot of details, maybe he has it all figured out and he knows everything about
True.
it, and they're just keeping it close to the vest. So I'll give a little leeway on that, but I understand your point though,
Yeah.
because it's just like, yeah, exactly. Why wouldn't you have a woman in charge of this?
Well, and here's the thing. So we don't know if the show's actually going to happen because that's just what happens in Marvel. Well, not Marvel, but it just in the TV universe. So the show has to go through many obstacles to actually make it on air. I really hope it does. And I'm curious to see exactly who they're going to be talking about. Some people were suggesting maybe A-Force, Lady Liberators, and Fearless Defenders, maybe. Who are you thinking? I think someone said She-Hulk.
Yeah, there are
be
some
cool.
rumblings. She-Hulk's actually a great character. She is Bruce Banner's cousin. So I think that it's a character that I feel like we're going to see at some point. And I think that they're just sort of trying to figure out, is she going to show up in a movie? Because it's tough to do more Hulk movies because Universal kind of owns, well, not kind of, Universal gets to have first crack at doing Hulk movies where it's a standalone Hulk movie. So I think if you do it in the TV world, you'd be able to just get She-Hulk and still save Hulk for Avengers movies, assuming that Hulk is alive at the end of Avengers 4. But how could he not be? And look, even if Bruce Banner dies, I think at some point there will always be a Hulk character. So maybe that's where they come in with She-Hulk. But I would love to see She-Hulk. We're getting to see, we've gotten to see Captain Marvel, who is, sort of an updated version of the 70s Ms. Marvel. But there's the current Ms. Marvel. I'd love to see her,
Yes.
But there's also rumblings that she's going to get a movie. So you have to figure out who doesn't have a movie possibly attached to them. And is that person going to fit in a TV? Because you can tell when there's characters. A perfect example, I mentioned Bobby on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. She's a character called Mockingbird. In the comics, she's married to Hawkeye. She's a member of the Avengers. She's actually a pretty big character. But clearly they weren't going to use her when they set up a different backstory for Hawkeye. So like, okay, she can be on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
So when they figure out that they don't want to do an Inhumans movie, which they had originally planned, they were just like, okay, that can be on TV. So it's just they have to figure out, I think. And we don't know what they're thinking, like to think that they don't have 10 years worth of movies mapped out is probably, they're celebrating their first 10 years. They've got the next 10, probably the third 10.
We got you covered.
They've got 100 years worth of movies mapped up.
Yeah. I mean, I'm curious. Ooh, Ink and TV says Spider-Woman. Maybe.
There are so many different Spider-Womans. The Jessica Drew Spider-Woman, I think, is somebody that I would
Jessica
really
Drew.
like to see. And then Jay Tesla says Elektra. You get into issues, though, because she's in the Netflix universe. I would love to see an Elektra series, by the way. Even if Netflix didn't want to do an ongoing, multiple seasons. If Netflix wanted to do kind of like maybe a standalone, like Defenders, just give us more about Elektra. I would love to see more of her because that actress is fantastic in the role.
Yeah. But you know what you can see tonight? The Gifted, it's back.
Tonight is the season 2 premiere of The Gifted. That's right. And, it's tangentially connected to the X-Men universe. And it has some X-Men characters. It's got Thunderbird. It's got Polaris. And we talk a lot about it on Marvel TV Weekly. At least we did while it was ongoing. And I was very upfront about how I did not love that show when it started. It really won me over, though, when they started amping up. There's a good story that's going into here. It's like the dawn of the mutant age, I think, is the subtitle for this season. And there's a conflict. They've got the Hellfire Club for X-Men fans. You don't need me to explain that. Even if you just saw X-Men First Class, you get it. X-Men Animated Series had the Hellfire Club. They had to call it the Circle Club because it's for kids, but that's all right. That's the club, with the White Queen and everybody. So I don't know. I think that there's really a lot that you can take away from the season. If you didn't watch the first season, let me just tell you, they're going to recap it at the beginning of season 2. If you love season 2, go ahead and go back and watch it. It took a while to get going, and I was really frustrated with how they used Polaris early on in particular. But I think the fact that there's a Fenris character on screen is very exciting for me personally. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm very optimistic that they're going to be able to do it, especially because they're introducing the Morlocks, who is a great part of the X-Men lore. I think Aunt Anthony, you're a big fan of the Morlocks, right?
Yeah. I mean, I was exposed to them in the classic '90s X-Men TV show.
Yeah.
So I'm somewhat familiar, not as much nowadays, but yeah, I know of them. Yes.
Yeah, and it's a great part of these characters, and we've met some of the Morlock characters, like Caliban has been in a few movies, including in Logan. So we've seen him a few times. So it'll be interesting to see who's in there. And Gamer Girl in the chat says that the show got much better when the Frost sisters appeared, the Stepford Cuckoos, which is there's 3 of them, and
I love them.
They're so good that them alone, I was like, this show just got better. And that's not just me saying something about them being some pretty ladies. They're just really interesting characters, and they're also pretty ladies. So I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. It seems like people in the chat are pretty excited. Oh, and Star Drew has a question.
Yeah.
Will there be a gifted panel?
Amy?
I wonder, Star Drew.
Yes, there will be. Ta-da! So that is tonight on the AfterBuzz Sci-Fi Fantasy Superhero channel at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So yeah, they'll be recapping everything about The Gifted.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and the best thing about all the after shows is if you haven't watched the show yet, they're always archived. You can always watch them after the fact. Just like our show, Marvel TV Weekly. What was that, Anthony?
Yeah, real quick. Apparently, Mr. Soupy.
I was excited for you to read it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's if you have a PS4 with PS Plus, which is a subscription service that you pay for PS Plus to play online, you can actually watch the episode already, and he says it was good.
What, Mr. Soupy Boothole?
That's
great.
Mr. Soupy Boothole, yeah, I said it. If I had one of those, I would watch it right after this. But instead, I'm just gonna have to watch it after it's on TV in like a few hours.
I wonder if Coy has the PS Plus.
He might. I don't know.
So we'll see.
Maybe he's watching it right now instead of watching us.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
maybe.
that's all right.
It's okay.
I would rather watch The Gifted than watch me, but I wouldn't rather watch The Gifted than watch Amy. So
thank you.
Wait,
thank
Kristian,
you.
aren't you gifted?
I'm gifted, but in a very different way.
Oh,
You
got
guys
it,
are great. Good job.
Thank you.
Round
we
of
were working on that all
applause.
day.
Okay, so I mean, do we have anything else that we want to talk about as far as The Gifted, or anything else that you wanted
just
to
an
add?
interesting comment from the chat. I don't quite know where this comes from, but Sky Patterson says, fun fact, the Morlocks will be featured in the Gambit standalone film. The feature would take place in 1980s New Orleans, where Gambit is getting married and kills his new wife's brother. So that Gambit movie, you want to talk about stops and starts, and Channing Tatum's in it. He's not in
Mental hell.
Yeah, I think that we will get a Gambit movie one day, but I don't think it's soon. And as long as Taylor Kitsch isn't in it, I'll go see it. Yeah, I said it.
Well, you know what's also soon though? Venom. Yeah.
Who has their tickets already?
Me.
Oh, so, okay. You do? Really?
I really do. I mean,
Zia on our panel, our Marvel TV Weekly panel, she has them too. But Anthony, you and I were talking, we don't buy our tickets ahead of time. Is there something wrong with Anthony and I?
I don't like to plan in the future because I just can't see into the future, so I can never really tell if I will actually be able to make it to the showings in the future. So I'm kind of like a go with the flow kind of guy.
You could always cancel your tickets though. I'm like Doctor Strange. I've used the Eye of Amagado, and I've seen when I will go see it in the future, so I don't need to buy the tickets until I go. Also, because I have 2 small kids, I always go Friday at 10:30 in the morning. That show's not sold out. I'm fine, but very excited for Venom.
well, yeah, I'm excited.
Star Drew has his Venom ticket. He wanted us all to know.
Hey, we're twins, guys. Yeah, let us know in the comments down below if you already have your Venom ticket. Yeah, that's gonna be at the end of next week. So when we see you guys next, it will be October.
Yes, but it will not be. It will not be October 5th or 4th, whatever the release date is.
It would actually be my birthday next time.
Next Wednesday is your birthday?
Tuesday.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, today's
I
Tuesday.
believe
Sorry.
so. Yeah, October 2nd is my birthday.
So that's next Tuesday.
Gosh. Okay, well, guys, if you're listening, send Aunt Manthony your fan art. Do it. Tag him on what is it? Tony B Tony _?
Yeah, Tony B Tony _. I would love to see anyone's interpretation of me at the booth.
If
I do have 6 arms, or how many an ant should have.
Yeah, but or you could just draw, the Scott Lang Ant-Man with the mask down, and just have him running the board and doing all the things there.
Oh.
Just giving somebody an idea.
I like that too. Yeah.
So,
By the way, I
so
just want to let me just interrupt, because somebody has an idea that I love, but it would never happen because even with the Disney merger. But Entree Humane says have Gambit show up in Cloak and Dagger because he's from New Orleans. That's the point there. So I would see that.
There's a TV show I would like to watch.
What, Gambit and Cloak and Dagger?
No, just Gambit.
Just Gambit. Okay.
Yeah.
Gambit.
Gambit and the Morlocks. Kind of sounds like a band name, but yeah.
And now Gambit and the Morlocks.
Gambit and the Morlocks would be great. They would go out on tour.
Yeah. Okay, well, now we're going to do some Mary Marvelite shout-outs. So thank you guys, too. Thank you, everyone. Okay, Shane Pickett at DadRad4, Max Russell at Max Russell 66. I'm going to go really fast. Justin Gilmore at J Gilliota 900, Mighty Guy 2421 at Mighty Guy 2421, Brian Knight at Project Avant, Boo Media Shock at Media Shock UK, Tori K at Vicky Toria 1996, Eric at Other Virginia Guy, Joe Campanelli at Joe Campanelli 4, Charles Lee at Goofy Van _Chuck. Marquia and Coy would always do these really fast, and it's hard. But these handles are great. And we do have a question that we do want to answer. This is from, I think this was on Twitter. Yes. At Entree Humane said, since we seem to not be getting more full-on Defenders, what team-ups would you like to see in crossovers on Netflix? I want to see Frank and Mary cross paths.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
And I think,
cross paths.
I think you're probably going to see that. I have a
Where?
good feeling that that Mary will show up in a future season of Daredevil, probably not this one, but also in The Punisher, just because of where the Typhoid Mary character has coexisted in the Marvel Universe. So I think we'll see more of her. But asking for other crossovers that you would like, I mean, we've talked about this on Marvel TV Weekly. We would love a Sisters of the Dragon show with Colleen and Misty. And anybody else who wants to come along for the ride, but you put Colleen and Misty in there. I actually don't even care. It could be like 6 clones of Squirrel Girl. I don't even care who else is there. Okay, yeah, I would probably care if there were 6 clones of Squirrel Girl. But and then a Heroes for Hire, Power Man and Iron Fist. Even if again that's just like an event series like Defenders, I just love watching the two of them together. And I think we would probably get another Defenders at some point. They're not planning one right now, but I would love to see another one.
And I think a lot of the Defenders situation was possibly because Iron Fist didn't do so hot the first season. So I think that now we're all rooting for them. I know there were some people that had some thoughts about season 2 of Jessica Jones, but I think as a whole, everyone's like, yeah, I would like to see, definitely Mary go on to other ones, kind of be like Claire was, that she just like go to all the different shows. I would love that. Heck, yeah, everyone. I do want more Defenders.
I did take all the good ones. I took Colleen and Misty. How great would that show be?
Yeah, that's one of the highlights of season 2 of Iron Fist.
Episode 6 of Iron Fist season 2 was so great because there's the fight scene in the tattoo place. That's all. Yeah. I'm not giving anything away just by saying that. There's a fight scene in a tattoo place, and it's amazing.
There are needles involved, obviously, because it's a tattoo place, and everything just gets If you haven't seen season 2. Season 2 of Iron Fist.
It's only 10 episodes, by the way.
Yeah.
So, and I promise you, I liked season 1 of Iron Fist, but I loved season 2 of Iron Fist. It really gets off to a great start, and then it has this ending that is so crazy. You're like, what are they doing?
We'll see. So this is all on Netflix, but someone in the chat said, Ghost8386 saying Ghost Rider meeting all the Defenders and the Punisher. So imagine, ooh.
I would love all that.
Yeah. Definitely more Ghost Rider. I think we've established that we need more of him.
And let me just throw in Gamer Girl mentions it can't happen because of movies and everything, but Daredevil and Spider-Man. I love Daredevil and Spider-Man together in comic books. I love Spider-Man and the Punisher together. I like Spider-Man interacting with the Kingpin. So there's all these characters. I would just love some kind of world where you're able to see it. And I guess the world is really the world of animation because you can sometimes get all of those things. But I agree wholeheartedly with Gamer Girl.
I'm just so excited for Marvel TV's future, honestly. With Daredevil 4, 5, 6,
and
who knows,
I'm
25.
interested to see what you think of The Gifted, having never watched it.
Yeah. You know, I'm going to have to watch the after show tonight at 7 p.m. on Sci-Fi, Superheroes, Fantasy.
I think you nailed it.
Is that channel on AfterBuzz, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time tonight. And let us know if you guys are watching Marvel TV shows now, which ones you love, Iron Fist, all that. Just comment down below. And thank you so much, Kristian, for joining us.
Thanks to everybody who was in the chat. So nice.
Yes, right?
And thank you, Amy, for even asking me.
Oh, of course. You are welcome back anytime.
I'll be here next week. No, I'm just saying that.
I'm just kidding. So where can everyone find you on social media?
You can find me at Christian DMZ on Twitter and Instagram, and I have a bunch of shows over on AfterBuzz. The important one for fans of this show would be Marvel TV Weekly, Sundays at 10 Pacific. And as somebody pointed out in the chat, I realize that's 1 a.m. Monday on the East Coast. But the beauty is they're always archived, and you can always also just download the audio-only version on iTunes. So that's where you should look for me. Oh, but let me give an extra plug. Wednesday, tomorrow night, the season premiere of South Park, and I am on the South Park after show over on AfterBuzz. And Aunt Manthony goes by a very different name there. We call him Tony B. Tony.
Oh, I was going to say on South Park?
Yeah, I know. I was just thinking we should have a good South Park name for you. But so Anthony and myself will be there along with Phil Svitek and Steph Sabra. So check out the...
And it is funny and ridiculous and just plain crazy.
And hashtag cancel South Park.
Why?
You'd understand.
Cancel South Park after show. That's just what I'm saying.
That's what we're going to have to tweet out.
Right.
Yeah. You'll understand when you watch the season premiere of South Park.
I'm so excited.
Oh, let me interrupt everyone. Sky Patterson says Kristian is awesome. Thank you, Sky Patterson. That was important. We couldn't have ended without me getting that in there.
Aunt Manthony, where can everyone find you on social media?
Oh, they can find me. I don't have a lower third for myself, but you can find me at Tony _, and in just over or a little over an hour at 4:10 p.m. I am on horror movie news here on the Popcorn Talk Network. We're gonna be talking about that Joker review. We're gonna be talking about how the new Chucky looks and some R.L. Stein news as well. So yeah, check us out then.
Yeah, I don't like the new Chucky, but anyway.
Eyebrows, what the heck?
I'm just not into it. Anyway.
I have thoughts too. You guys can find me on all social media at Amy Cassandra MTZ. I'm also on the Marvel TV Weekly panel. I'm on Box Office Breakdown here on Popcorn Talk, and there's another one, Netflix Picks, on AfterBuzz. I also do stuff on Geek Bomb, so feel free to watch stuff there. There's a lot of coverage of awesome nerdy things there, and also on Clever. So just feel free to follow me on Instagram, and you'll see all my stuff there.
And you'll see her great reaction videos.
Oh, yes, on YouTube. Yeah.
We'll try and get a reaction video to Amy watching the Daredevil movie from 15 years ago.
How would I possibly go? Well, I'll ask you guys after.
Just do like a review right
Yeah,
after.
just do a review.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Okay, we'll do that. Okay, sounds good. Thank you guys so much for joining us, and we will see you next week. Bye.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of its owners or principals.